The Port Podcast with Craig Bell Estabrooks.
Welcome, everyone, to the new season of the Port Podcast. We are absolutely thrilled today to have Rob Chambers, president of Americold. We've talked a lot in the previous seasons about the great private sector partners that we brought to the port. DP World, our terminal operator, CPKC Rail. Now we have another industrial logistics giant arriving at the Port of St. John in 2026, Americold, to set up a cold storage, temperature-controlled import-export facility at the Port of St. John. And Rob's our first guest this year. We're thrilled. Port Days is starting tonight. We're in the crew lounge right now next to the cruise terminals. Cruise starts in a few weeks as well. So we've got a lot of excitement building. And Rob, we are thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Craig. Couldn't be happier to be here. I mean, this has been a long time coming.
Yep.
And today, tomorrow, very, very exciting days. So will the course of the next year as we build this facility. Can't wait to be back up here in just under a year when we open it.
Exactly. So first question right off the bat, I think our listeners want to know, what is cold storage and what is temperature-controlled supply chain?
Sure. So at Americold, we're a global leader in temperature-controlled logistics and real estate. We've been around for 120 years. Yeah. And our job is really the infrastructure that connects the companies that produce or manufacture food to those that sell the food, and then ultimately for it to get onto families' kitchen tables in their homes. So Americold provides the infrastructure, whether that be the real estate, the buildings, the logistics services, and in many instances, the transportation of that product from the point of production to the point of consumption. So
tell us a little bit about your leadership journey. How did you end up at Americold and in the role you're in today?
Sure. So I started in logistics very early in my career. I began my career with KPMG. I was in their audit and advisory practice down in Jacksonville, Florida. And a lot of logistics companies are headquartered down in that part of the country. And so a number of my clients were logistics oriented, and I really liked that business. I was attracted to it because of the practical nature of logistics, how it impacts everybody's life essentially every day. And so I was with KPMG for a while, and then I ended up with CEVA Logistics. CEVA is one of the largest 3PLs in the world. I was in their commercial group for a number of years, and then they were purchased by CMA, the shipping line.
Right.
And at that point, I moved on from CEVA. I ended up with another logistics company. I was the CFO of Saia, which is a large, less than truckload transportation company in the U.S. and ultimately made my way to Americold. And so I've been with the company for 12 years now, since 2013. It's been an incredible journey. When I joined Americold, it was probably about a third of the size that it is today. Right. Over the last 10, 12 years, we've grown significantly, become a global company, become a public company, and very honored now to be in the role of president of the company.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the weight of working for a company that's got 120 years of great service quality. Anyone that can Google Americold knows the history, the deep-rooted fabric that you have in your community as well in Atlanta and in Georgia. How does it feel to have such a prominent role in a company that means so much to your community?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the first thing that I love, and I know all of our associates love, is the fact that we're a very mission-driven company. And that's natural and that's organic. We don't have to come up with something that is outside of our core. Our mission is to help our customers feed the world. And I think that when we think about how that guides us every day, that's the principle that we kind of stick to when it comes to the investments that we make, when it comes to the service that we try to provide to our customers, when it comes to the giving back that we do in our communities. And then certainly as a public company, that means there's a lot of eyes on everything that you do. And but again, I think because of the fact that our mission at its core is so natural in terms of helping our customers feed the world, that it's very easy for us to stay focused on making sure that we're constantly finding ways to improve and drive that mission forward.
Yeah, I really think we've talked a lot in past podcasts. We have a big potash business, as you know, here in St. John. Your neighbors, Crosby Molasses on the west side here. We're going to talk about your facility in a second. There's a lot of food grade product that and obviously fertilizer, key fertilizer with potash that's important for feeding the world. We get a lot of interest from viewers of the podcast understanding supply chains around food. I think the pandemic really heightened people's sensitivity that shelves were no longer stocked in the way that they had previously become accustomed to. So are you seeing a bigger awareness amongst the general public and companies you work with?
100%. And you're exactly right. I mean, I would say that the pandemic absolutely highlighted, how critical the role of what we do is, and then also our customers' role. I mean, so from a food manufacturing standpoint, during that period in time when folks were not able to be in the facilities and manufacturing plants, you saw a significant decline in the actual amount of food that was being produced. Our network was impacted. A lot of our associates were not able to come to work during that time period. That meant what was produced, it was struggling to get to grocery retailers. And then those retailers themselves, hard time running their distribution centers, getting product on the shelves. So, that put a huge spotlight on it. I think our associates during that time, who were very, very essential, were really, heroic, and created a absolutely huge impact for everybody to be able to get through that period of time. And now we end up in a circumstance where folks are more focused on it. And we're seeing a lot more investment and growth in cold chain than we have over the last few years.
Right. Okay, so switch gears a little bit. We're on the waterfront.
Yes.
We're on the beautiful sunny day here in St. John, New Brunswick. We're looking over at our very expansive, growing container terminal operated by DP World. Tell us a little bit about how you and your team came to know about the assets that we're building in St. John.
Sure. So Americold is committed to deploying capital on behalf of our customers to grow and find more efficient and sustainable ways for food to get from production to consumption. And part of the way that we have been doing that is partnering with other best-in-class supply chain and logistics companies. I think Americold, at its core, we know what we do well. We provide the infrastructure for the efficient movement of food. What we are not is a terminal operator. We're not a railroad, but we know that those are players that play an essential role in the overall ecosystem. And so we partnered with DP World a number of years ago to look for opportunities to add cold chain infrastructure on ports that they operate. And very early on in that relationship, they identified Port St. John as one of significant investment that they were making, significant growth, and then we took that and we had our supply chain solutions organization analyze food flows in and out of Canada, from Europe here, from here to Europe, Asia Pacific, South America, and really recognize some significant inefficiencies in the way that food was moving in and out of Canada. Port St. John became a perfect opportunity to add cold chain infrastructure and optimize food flows. And, we took that insight, we validated that with customers. So we immediately said, okay, let's go to a few key customers that we think would utilize a facility here. And our early insights were validated right away. And we took that. And then I would say it really became partnership with yourselves and others. I mean, your willingness to support an Americold facility here was absolutely critical to us being here. And so that collaboration amongst all of the key partners, combined with the customer feedback, made this a no-brainer.
Yeah, that collaboration was tremendous. I love to tell the story. I've been 13 and a half years at the port and 3.5 as the CEO. And one of the big early milestones, the board challenged myself and our senior team to get a little more infrastructure dollars that were available from the federal government to fill in the slips. So we had created a new berth for DP World, but over time with dredge spoils from our annual dredging program, we were going to fill them in slowly. Well, our friends at CPKC, specifically Jonathan Waba, who's going to be one of your colleagues on the speaking series this year at Port Days, challenged us. We need to fill in those slips much quicker. And Mr. Keith Creel, who was a keynote 2 years ago at our luncheon, really challenged us. And we were able to deliver an additional $42 million through the National Trade Corridor Fund to fill in the slips quickly, and they're almost done now. Actually, a lot of the slips are complete and have been turned over to DP World, so they have extra laydown. That day of the announcement, Jonathan said, "I've got a really good friend of mine, Matthew Moore from Americold. I'd really like you to meet him." And cold storage, for my entire time, has been talked about as being the key anchor to grow the Port of St. John. It's been talked about for decades, but in my whole time, and just has never happened. It didn't materialize. And when Jonathan introduced, me to Matt that day, and others had already spoken to you and your team at this stage, we knew from that moment this could be really special. Because how do you find a company that has a relationship with both your biggest Class 1 railway utilizing the port and your terminal operator?
It takes that type of collaboration because these are complex facilities, they're expensive facilities. It generally takes collaboration with the local government in order to create the type of service to be able to meet all of your customer needs. Without that collaboration, it doesn't happen. And so I think it's no surprise. It's something that was probably talked about for a long time. But at the same time, also really no surprise that without that type of teamwork and team effort, that's what it takes to bring a facility like this here.
Yeah, I got to ask a little bit about the construction because our team is just in awe at your building, your group. The amount of thinking about the community. And the engagement that you did, both through the public consultation last year, you're so conscious of the environment, but then the construction methods to mitigate community impact. We've been blown away. It actually has given us pause for reflection about how we want to look at as a port doing engagement going forward. Where does that commitment to environment community come from? Is it inherent in the value?
So I think it's inherent, absolutely. I will tell you that we're very, very proud of the team that we've built. We think the team that we have is absolutely best in class. Americold over the last 5 or 6 years has deployed over $1 billion in development worldwide, and you can't do that without a world-class team, world-class processes, and a commitment, like you said, to doing it very, very responsibly. And so, we've been extremely focused over the last few years on making sure that we have that team in place, we have those processes in place, and we have that inherent, corporate responsibility embedded in the way that we do any sort of development deal. And here more so than probably ever before, because we recognize that, it is very, very valuable land. We recognize that we're not your only option to partner with, and so we're proud to be here. And we wanted to make sure that we did everything that we possibly could to do the facility construction the right way. And there are unique challenges that come with building on the land here. And at any real port site, these buildings that we build, a cold storage facility, inherently is very, very heavy. So you have to make sure that ground is stable. So we're going through some very innovative processes here that include 2,500 rigid inclusions to stabilize the ground. Then we're making sure the building is positioned in a way that is the most hospitable to the local community, where the majority of the truck traffic will be closer to the water and away from the housing, that the refrigeration systems are not something that would be in plain view. So, we think that the facility is constructed in a way that is very responsible and ultimately something that's going to be great for this community.
Yeah, it's little things too, because the big stuff that you just mentioned is the most important. But what I love in one quick conversation with your colleague Mike, just a little bit of green space that's going to occur. He said, I noticed I was on site the other day, part of your land, Port Authority land, you got a fence that's broken down. Well, we're here. We're just going to clean that up.
Yep.
Like that little stuff, that matters. That's how industry and community coexist peacefully. I
100%.
really believe that.
And Americold wants to be here for decades and decades to come. This is not an investment. Americold is a real estate investment trust, so this is not an investment that we make lightly or one that we invest and then we say, hey, we're going to move on from in 5 years or 10 years. Yeah. Our expectation is that we're here 50, 60, 70, 100 years. Yeah. And if you were to look at the facilities and the locations that Americold is in today, I mentioned before, we're a 120-year-old organization, and many of the communities that we've served, we've been in for 100 plus years. Yeah. And so we want to be here. We want to grow with you, with the way the port grows, and this entire region. Yeah. So
last formal business question. So the value proposition, we hear a lot about what you've talked to the market about St. John. We know DP World is marketing heavily your presence coming very soon, kind of bringing that capacity in. Share with our listeners what's the elevator sales marketing pitch about why you see value here for this new facility
for our customers or for the community.
For customers,
for customers, because this is a key gateway, right? Port St. John is a key gateway for the rest of Canada and potentially into the United States, by the way. And so this is part of an ecosystem that we're creating with DP World's maritime logistics, CPKC's rail network, Americold's infrastructure that can't be replicated anywhere. This will be the only facility that brings all three of us together in the entire world. And so when you have best-in-class logistics companies like that, with a port that's willing to grow and invest, now in a key location like this, you are optimizing food flows for product into Canada and exporting out of Canada. And it's going to open up so many opportunities for our customers that today would love to be able to get into a market like here or more efficiently into central Canada that today don't have a great option. So there is a huge transportation savings. There's huge sustainability efforts that go along with this. So much product that would otherwise be transported over the road will now be transported in a more environmentally friendly way over rail. So the sales pitch, quite frankly, sells itself once you explain the overall supply chain solution. Yeah,
and the sales pitch to the community, you mentioned it earlier, it's the jobs that are associated. Right. You're going to employ a tremendous amount of people, and that's what we're so grateful about.
Yeah, I mean, during construction, it will be over 200 people. And then when the building is up and running, we'll have over 100 associates in the facility. It will create a tremendous amount of impact in GDP here. And ultimately, again, Americold is focused on finding other ways to give back as well, on top of just the financial impact that it will have.
And for perspective here, 100 jobs is massive for this community. Greater St. John, about 130, 140,000 people. When we've seen our Longshore Union with DP World grow from, roughly 100 to 300 jobs, that has rocked the community in a positive way, because those are good paying jobs, much like yours. And then we've had more harbor pilots, more tugs. The rail line is employing 100 more people. Like that's the incremental growth that you get with all this business. It's tremendous.
It really is an ecosystem, right? I mean, it all works hand in hand.
Yeah. So I got to ask you a fun question. Sure. I've had the opportunity to visit you in Atlanta.
Yes.
I think Atlanta is one of the nicest cities in North America. A great sporting city.
Yes.
So you've got incredible teams. You're in every league. Golf courses, East Lake, the historic Bobby Jones. I'm a huge golf fan. What's your favorite sport? Who's your favorite team in Georgia?
Sure. So I'm going to give you two answers. First of all, I'm always been a big football guy, so I root hard for the Falcons. Now, I was born in Pittsburgh, so I'm a Steelers fan.
Okay, wow.
But fortunately, they're in opposite conferences, so a Falcons fan every game unless they play Pittsburgh. The other thing, though, that Georgia has is the Masters, which is just a short way down from Atlanta. So that's a great event every year, and I'm a big golf fan, so I love watching that as well.
Yeah, well, I love golf history too, and Bobby Jones and the East Lake facility is legendary in your region too. So really
Atlanta is a great place. It's been a great city for Americold to be in. It's a great place to have a family, and so we love the city. It's a great sports town. It's got a ton to offer.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being our first guest. We've relaunched our podcast. It's Port Days 2025, and we're very excited to see what the next few days will come. And thanks for being our keynote speaker at lunch tomorrow.
Thank you, Craig. It's an honor.